What's going on, guys? We're back for another video. Obviously, this video is not made for kids, nor is my channel. Y'all already knew that. I'm just doing that disclaimer because of YouTube. And yeah, we're gonna do videos like this from here on out for this channel. Just because we're gonna entertain my hyperfixations, and I'm just too damn lazy with the toxicity that is the internet to like pop onto r/Transformers to like pop into a Facebook group wherever and just be like, oh, look at this figure that I got. Talk about why I like it. This just feels more my speed for whatever reason. All of these I talked about on my Blue Sky, which I'll try to remember for once to link below. And yeah, let's just jump into things because this is like the fourth take of the video and I've already fucking rambled. Anyway, I am not going in the order that I got these. I'm just gonna go in the order that I feel like, and we're gonna start with. I was about to say Transformers Prime, but TF1 Studio Series Airachnid. It's funny because the 14th Prime I've been following recently calls her Black Arachnia. But yeah, I don't know. She's very cool. I like her a lot. It's amazing that we even got a toy of this character from TF1. To be honest, I do kind of wish that they had futzed with the like case assortment for her wave and made her one of the Voyagers, and then just like, you know, whatever Voyager slot she would have been in, like kicked that slot, that figure down to like a future wave or whatever. Because I do think she should have been a Voyager, but that said, for the deluxe price point, especially if you were one of the, you know, people that saw TF1, even though it didn't do as well as it should have, unfortunately, I don't know, it's still really cool that we got a figure of Airachnid, because this is the design, especially if you saw it in the movie, where I'm like, how the hell are they going to translate that to a toy? And it's really cool. The transformation is a little bit fiddly, but still very intuitive. The instructions are very helpful, to be completely honest with you, which is kind of a shocker for Hasbro. And yeah, she's honestly very cool. I like her a lot. I know it's a completely separate universe and all that jazz, but for right now, she's also going to be like my classics Arachnid, who I feel like is probably just the modern reimagining of Black Arachnia outside of the Beast Wars continuity. But yeah, she's also going to be like my stand-in for a classics-ish Arachnid. I don't know. We need a good Arachnid from TF Prime, but we're not going to get that ever, I think, other than, you know, what ABC Toys did, which I have in storage somewhere. But yeah, also I don't really know that I would want Hasbro to do a TF Prime Generations styled Arachnid. Although that smokescreen coming out, I wonder if they're going to do another pass at Transformers Prime Knockout, because that mold, the way they did TF Prime smokescreen for Age of the Primes, screams, hey, we want to do another go at Knockout, which would be amazing, because that character deserves a good toy, because the one that came out in Legacy was perfectly fine. And the Prime ones were kind of good. And then the Transformers Prime Red Knockout was just terrible, so we will see what happens. Anyway, that was a complete ramble on tangent, but yeah, Arachnid is very cool. Honestly, I think because of the aesthetic and just the niftiness of you can literally like plop her down like that, and she's stable, like, it's just wild. I think that alone makes her worth the deluxe price point, because look at what she's standing on. Like, look at that. Like, my hands are wobbling a little bit, but like she's stable. She's shaking just because I can never hold my hand straight, but without like shaking a little bit, right? She's stable on literally any surface you put her on, with the like tiny ass footprint that she has, which is incredible. So very well done, Hasbro, on that one. Let's see, who's next? Let's stick with this general size class, shall we? So I have the Mastermind Creations Night Morpher Annihilator, their Hearts of Steel Nemesis Prime in storage. And that's honestly partially why I just didn't bother with the Transformers Timelines, Hearts of Steel, Optimus, and Starscream 2-pack, even though that Starscream did look very cool. And I just never got around to getting the Bumblebee and the Megatron. Maybe I'll get both those 2-packs at some point, but we'll see. But let's talk about the set that everybody's been talking about, because it kind of, I think it was another case of something coming out sooner than everybody expected. Let's talk about the Timelines 2-pack of Starscream and Optimus from Feudal Japan. Woo! So here's the thing. This set, probably because of the exclusivity and the rarity and the coolness of it all, is like $70 after shipping. I think it's like $62 or something on Hasbro Pulse right now, or it was when I ordered it. And that is a little bit steep. I'm assuming that's because Hasbro Pulse just kind of bakes in the whole tariff surcharge thing into their prices. But for $70, roughly, I don't know that I can recommend these two, because you're basically paying for a fancy box and then two small deluxes. The box is very cool. I've tossed it just because I don't have space in that closet where a lot of stuff is stored, or wherever else just to store boxes. That stuff takes up so much space. But the box itself is very cool. I like the design of the box. I do think they could have knocked like $5 off by not having it like open up like an old style Japanese book, by not having the slipcover, whatever, but that's just me. That being said, the fact that, and people have said it's not an AirRazor remold, and it's not, honestly, because I have AirRazor over there. I wouldn't be surprised if they share like parts, though. At least this is like the mold skeleton is the same, because the wings kind of strike me as similar. But Starscream here is pretty nifty. I do agree with the general consensus that the legs needed to fold up more in bot mode, in bird mode. But yeah, Starscream's pretty nifty. I honestly do really like him. Honestly, more I think than a lot of people do. I like the fan weapon. It's very cool. I honestly don't really have him hold it, though. I just have it as like tail feathers and everything, because I just like the idea that his null rays are like historic Japanese rifles. That's very cool. He does hold them, which is cool if you want to give him kind of that alternate look. He does hold them. It does work. His posability isn't the best for like an actual like good dynamic pose with them, though. Just because below the waist it gets kind of wonky. Actually, I'm realizing, there we go. From transforming him earlier, his waist wasn't fully clicked in. Just the posability can get a little bit awkward, making him look dynamic when he like you want him like lunging and firing the gun or whatever. But there you go. He's pretty neat. I like him. He's definitely, I know, he's cool. I like him for sure. It's definitely a unique thing, making him like this style of like feudal Japan robot. I like it a lot, and it's very fun to me, and people have already said this, that literally like we got these two released like so soon after they were announced, and there aren't even pre-orders up yet for Bumblebee and Megatron. And honestly, I'm assuming Bumblebee's supposed to be like a flying tanuki or something like that, or a flying squirrel. He just looks like a Naruto collaborative figure knockoff thing. The Megatron looks cool, though. I'm all about that Megatron. But yeah, Optimus Prime here is very cool. I will fully admit, though, that once you figure out the transformation and you realize what goes where, the shine does kind of wear off. And the fact that the ox and cart mode is very much static outside of like, you know, you grab the ox part and you pull it forward, because there's not that much posability in ox and cart mode. That does kind of dull the shine of this a lot, but it's still very cool that they engineered an ox pulling a cart into this. Like, this looks cool. This is going to look very cool on the shelf, whatever shelf I end up putting him in and all that stuff, but it's just neat. I do wish that, especially for that $70 price point, that they had found a way to maybe not necessarily give us like the wrist swivel in or whatever, because the wrists are on our ball joint there, but like they had found a way to like hide those hooves, that they had given the alt mode some posability. And then honestly, that for that price point, that they had just found a way for you to unclip these wheels. Like, they could just have like a peg and port connection here on either wheel. That way you could like have the wheel like flop down while you're pegging like the cart section into the back of the legs, and that way you would actually be able to see what you're doing. There's just like little things that kind of bother me about both Prime and Starscream. Where I'm like, this is a really cool set, but for the price, it's still a very cool set though. Like the fact that as I just said, we got this Optimus Prime who's pretty cool looking. Although I kind of wish that they made the chest look a little bit more feudal Japan and less Optimus Prime-y. Like, we don't need the truck windows. We don't need the faux truck grill. Like, make that look more samurai-y. Other than all that, though, it is very freaking neat to me that we got a oxen cart to transform into this. Like, that's pretty neat. Like, in concept and in execution. So, all credit to Hasbro, right? Yeah, we'll save those guys for last, even though they were the December pickup. So we're just going to start with these two, and we'll get to the main event for, I believe, technically he's a leader class because of the pack-in. So, you know what we're talking about now. We got Studio Series Buzzsaw, who, hey, I'm glad Hasbro gave Buzzsaw to us, even though nobody really cares about Buzzsaw, even though unless you're a diehard of this, you know, the forthcoming Soundwave. But, hey, they headed off the third party. Oh, hey, here's a Buzzsaw that'll go with your Studio Series 86 Soundwave off at the pass. Although I'm sure third parties are already working on other Soundwave cassettes. But Buzzsaw and Laserbeak, exact same mold, just, you know, that chest section is painted different colors, that body section is. And yeah, I'm not as annoyed by these parts that I'm tapping, parts forming, as a lot of people are. It's just a thing, right? It's fine. It doesn't honestly bother me. It doesn't really move the needle for me one way or the other. It is what it is. I will say though, and it's why he's inside Soundwave. That Ravage that's in there, complete and utter ass. When I got Soundwave, he came from my pile of loot and everything. I'm like, okay, Ravage can't be that as bad as people are saying. Like, I'm sure he's perfectly fine, whatever. Hasbro has not given us a good Ravage figure in like the mini scale, like a Soundwave like cassette minion or whatever, or just like a random like pack-in Ravage since, God, what was that? That wasn't Universe 1. Since Universe 2 Hound in like the 2010s. So it's been like, what, 10, 15 years since we've gotten a good proper like cassette-inspired Ravage figure from Hasbro. Like, what are they doing with to Ravage? Like, people like Ravage, and they can't do Ravage well recently. It's the wildest thing. I'm not going to bother to transform them because it's just a crap and over-engineered design. He just looks like a square brick. Like, I don't know. He's just not good. Man, I totally get what people were saying now. Because, yeah, when I transformed Ravage the first time, I'm like, he's ass. And the fact that like his tail and boosters are the parts for him, because again, perfectly fine, doesn't really move the needle for me in terms of like hate it, love it, whatever. But Ravage is just ass, man. He's just not good. I'm assuming some third-party company is going to give us a better Studio Series 86 Ravage at some point, but we'll see. Third parties seem to have other priorities now, which I'm not mad about. Honestly, though, that all said, Soundwave is very nifty. I do wish that there was another panel to cover up like his weapons when they store here on his back, in alt mode, and that there was a more cohesiveness to the back of the alt mode, to the like tape cassette mode. It just feels very like half finished if you look at it from like any angle other than the front, because it just feels like they just like lopped off sections of it and just kind of left it there. But honestly, that's my biggest nitpick. Other than the weird, like, you really do have to kind of like force the joint to get the arm to bend there. That's the thing. I know why they did that, just to make it, you know, not be super fluid and all that, or just for quality reasons, I guess, or joint security reasons, some reason. But like the arms tab in to the legs for the alt mode. So I don't know why like they have that joint be so tight, but it's cool that he has double jointed elbows. He can press his own button. It's just, it's a little bit fiddly to get him into that position with his hand and everything. And yeah, honestly, he's cool. He might end up being a desk bot for the rest of the year. We'll see. He might be in one of the shelves over there, which you guys can't see. Whatever. We'll figure it out. But he is very nifty. He's definitely, I'm happy that I have him as the counterpoint to Blaster. And I have the original deco of Blaster that came out in Legacy, not the Studio Series 86 version. But yeah, Soundwave is cool. He is a little bit overpriced because later price point and everything, but especially because Ravage is so ass. But it is what it is. Not a whole lot we can do about that now, right? Other than, like, oh, I'm gonna get out of the hobby and boycott Hasbro. Okay, pick something else to be mad about nowadays, right? Like, you don't need to announce your departure from the hobby because things are too expensive. Just buy things when you can. Anyway, I'm not gonna get on that soapbox. There's a whole separate rant there. Mostly brought on by the, at times, too much negativity from channels like Perspective End, even though I do like his videos. Anyway, to wrap up this very rambling video, let's talk about the other Mixmaster. He is one of the figures. Let's talk about the other Devastator figure set situation that came out last year from Giant Legion, who I believe they're new on the scene from third party. They might just be a rebranded team from some other company or whatever. But okay, so full disclosure: one, you do get like a battery to light up the eyes, and you can boop the heads with the magnet that's in the gun for either one of them to turn on the LED, or basically to turn on the battery. I tried doing that on both of them, and I'm pretty sure I installed the battery correctly on both of them, but I must have just not, because the eyes are just dead. I honestly only noticed it more on Mixmaster. I forget what name they gave him. Probably Mixer or something like that. But it doesn't really bother me. When I get the other four, this set, it's going to be in Devastator mode anyway. He's probably going to be too big for the shelf where my Decepticon Masterpieces and Studio Series 86 Devastator are, but I'm going to have this full set as Devastator and probably on my desk back there anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But that said, and I do like the Studio Series 86 Devastator a lot, despite its flaws, for roughly like $85, and this is from like TF Safari, Show Z Store, Chosen Prime, places like that. Like, for $85, the fact you're getting two tall figures, like, for example, I would hold this up if there was a third hand in this room right now, but there isn't. For example, Soundwave is like a tall Voyager that they're marketing as a leader, right? Like, there is your size comparison. They're roughly the same height. Soundwave looks a little lower. There we go. But like, look at that. Like, this is like a traditional, like, old school for those of us that have been collecting for a while. Can't talk. Like, this loader here, or whatever they're calling, Scrapper, Bone Crusher, I always get a couple of them mixed up, and Mixmaster. These guys are like tall Voyagers, probably like what used to be a leader class. And the fact that you're getting like a good, tall, well-engineered figure, two of them for $85 shipped, essentially, from, again, like Chosen Prime, Show Z Store, TF Safari, wherever, is wild to me. Because, like, these are like almost classics styled, minus the Giant Legion branding that's all the fuck over them. These are like classics, generations, reimagined Constructicons, and they're really fucking fun to mess with. Like, these two have not left my desk since I got them as like a birthday present to myself in December. And I'm going to be getting the other four. I'm going to be getting Hookmaster. I'm going to be getting Hook, Scrapper, Long Haul, and Scavenger, Bone Crusher, whichever one this guy is, and I always get the names confused, like I said, later this year. So, like, I already have the set with Hook and Long Haul on my list to get probably next month. Yeah, the fact that you get the two really good quality figures with very fun transformations and very unique transformations for $85 is wild to me. And, like, they're tall boys. It's great. It's so good. So cool. That's all I have to say, honestly. And at this point, I've kept you all way too long. Thanks for watching. I'm sorry I wasted 20 minutes of your day, whatever day you happen to be watching this. But I'll see you when I see you.